Hey flippers, it's me Carly, and this week on CartwheelCarly I have a sad video, I guess. It's kind of upsetting. If you can't tell by the title of this video, I once again have broken a bone. And it was at trampoline. I was on the trampoline doing one of my easy routines. Actually, it was like a more chill routine because it's my first week back since I was at camp. I did the routine, and when I got to the back full, I thought I had a lot more space than I actually did. And I went for the back full, landed on the spring, kind of like with my knees back. Like I landed and I was sitting on with my toe inside of the spring. And it's like, this is the spring and this is my like baby toe, my toe next to it, and I landed with it like straddling it. And when I landed, I was just sitting there and I was like, I don't want to move the spring, my toe is in the spring, I don't want to move, my toe is in the spring. And I just kept repeating that, and my coach was like, you gotta get off the mat, you gotta get up. And I was like, okay. So I slowly got up and I stood up and I just like bent over and I went, no, and I kept saying no. And then she was like, can you finish the routine? And I was like, no. So then my coach told me to come and sit down next to her, so I sat down and took my trampoline shoe off. My toe was like super crooked. It was out to the side like this, I guess. It was like that. And I sat there for the entire training. I iced it a little bit, which didn't feel great. It was like kind of tingly, but it was super painful, and I could not walk on it. Like I was standing up, and then I would just sit back down because it hurt so bad. I got my friend to carry me. I got my dad to carry me to the car. I went to the hospital, and when I was waiting, and Eliza was not at training that day. Thank you so much if you're watching this, she came to the hospital, and she was sitting with me and waiting for me to get checked. And honestly, she made the whole thing so much better. We were giggling, and she just made me feel a lot better. So we were at the hospital. You go in initially, you go to a check-in, you give your information. Then you sit and wait for a little bit. They call you to the next area, which is where they take your blood pressure, ask you kind of what happened, sort of stuff like that. I was talking to the guy, and we were like making jokes. He was like super nice. And I said to him, I was like, do you think it looks broken? He goes, well, probably. It looks dislocated, and it definitely looks broken to me. Shouldn't be pointing that way. And I was like, I wanted to cry, but I was also laughing the way he said it. I was like really confused. I was giggling so much that whole night. I wasn't really in shock. It wasn't that big of something that happened, but I was just giggling a lot. I didn't really know how to react properly. And so when he said that to me, I was like, oh shoot, like this is not just going to be like, yeah, you're fine, it's a bruise, go home. I was kind of a little bit terrified at that point. So after that, we went back into the waiting area, and we go around to different doctors, and then they sent us for x-rays. I got my x-rays on, and then I came outside of the x-ray, and Eliza was like, I gotta go, and then she left, and I was like, oh, okay. After the x-ray, we go over to the doctor, and we waited so long, and it was like 2 a.m. at this point for the doctor, and then he pulls me up to the computer, and you can see on the x-ray that my toe was out to the side weirdly, and I was like looking at it, and he's like, maybe it looks broken. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how do you not know? You need to give me like a this is broken or a this isn't. He was saying maybe, I think. He wasn't using definite words, and it was really bothering me. And he was like, I think you're okay. And then he goes, actually, wait, zooms in on it, and goes, oh yeah, that's broken. And I was like bawling my eyes out. I was so upset. This doctor wasn't telling me anything. He was saying something about it being broken, and then he was saying something about numbing it, and then just walked away and started talking to other doctors. And I'm thinking to myself, I was terrified because I didn't know what they were going to do, and I needed them to kind of walk me through the steps of it, and just so I could so I could more understand what was happening, because I was like really worried, thought I was gonna die for no reason, and they just weren't that helpful about it. And so then they put me in this room. Still, I'm not quite sure what they're gonna do. They were telling me they're gonna re-break it to put it in place, and I was freaking out because that's gonna hurt. I'm also terrified of needles, and I knew they were gonna numb it, so I was crying because of the needle. And then he comes back there and I was like, I need you to explain what's happening. And he really wasn't that clear to me, so I was still very confused on what was going on. And so they stuck 2 needles in me. They put one on one vein, one on another vein on the top of my foot. And that killed so much. It felt like he was moving the needle around inside of me. And they let it numb. They had me sitting in that room for so long, letting it numb, even though it was numb almost immediately. And then they come back and they're like, okay, we're like, tell us if you feel any pain and then we'll numb it some more. And don't worry, it won't hurt if we numb it some more because it's already numb. So they touched my toe and I was like, I screamed. I was like, no, this hurts. Like, you are hurting me. Because they only numbed the top and I could feel pain, a lot of pain on the bottom of it. So they were like, it's okay, and they were pulling my toe back into place, but they really weren't doing a good job of it. And they pulled it back in, and it just immediately sprung back out as if it was a spring. And I was in so much pain. They were really rough on me, and they kept pulling it, and it kept going back out. And then eventually they were like, it looks like, okay, it looks a little better. And I'm like, what does that mean? They told me my toe was out of place and then I broke the bone down here, known as the 5th metatarsal. No, they didn't put me in a cast, which hurts. It hurts so bad to walk on it. My foot is extremely bruised because they were poking it and pulling it, and it really wasn't bruised until they started doing that. I am out of trampoline for 3 weeks, like no physical activity, but I'm not quite sure when I'll get back. But I'm not quite sure when I'll actually get back to like proper training. Tumbling is really hard on your body, especially since it's not as soft as landing on a trampoline, because it's going to be about 2 months until I can start doing tumbling passes again on the tumble track, and I don't even know if I'm going to be like strong enough to do it. I decided that we are going to pause tumbling for now. I didn't quit or retire. I'm taking a break. We are gonna revisit it maybe next year or maybe later on in the season. I'm still gonna compete trampoline. I love trampoline, but it's just not the year and it's just not the time to do tumbling. So I hope that clarified it. I did post it on Instagram. Not a lot of people follow me there though. Make sure you do. It is Carly_Gymstar. And I kind of said on there what happened and explained the story a little bit, but this is more to clarify. Make sure the people who don't follow me on Instagram know about it. And leave video suggestions down below. More sit-down type videos, I guess. You can also leave non-sit-down type videos for when I'm healed. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Love you all. I'm going to not flip out. Bye!